folks, welcome to this week's weekly report, weekly outlook. Today is the 1st of February. It is a new month and dry January is gone. Roll on February, I say. Right, okay, so let's get straight into it. We had some big moves in the stock markets last week, some chaotic moves in the stock market last week, all spurred on by the events going on in a certain stock called GameStop. I'm sure you've been following this. It's been all over the news. It was basically where you had a community of Reddit followers deciding to take on the hedge funds and basically causing what's known as a short squeeze. Knowing that the hedge funds are all short this stock, they decided collectively to push this stock high. You see it trading around the 20 mark before they got involved. It took us up to a high up there, $420 or something like that, very close. But it caused a big sort of ripple waves into the stock markets, as well as the belief is that the hedge funds are going to have to sell their stocks to basically pay for the losses on this particular stock. So the markets were in turmoil last week, and that of course has knock-on effects in the currency markets as well. So there's some good opportunities in the currency markets. So let's have a quick look. We're looking at the Aussie New Zealand short trade. Now this isn't really related to the GameStop events, but basically this has been a really healthy downtrending market. The New Zealand dollar has been outperforming the Asia Pacific currencies, and we think that is going to continue. We've broken through now some levels of support, and we think that the trend continuation now is continuing down all the way down to 105.50. We actually took some nice trades in this last week. If you are following us, we took some nice profits on there. Coming into a bit of support, a break of this support could see a re-challenge of those low levels down there at 105.50. Selling the Aussie is a weaker currency this week than New Zealand, so that will work as well. Also, we're looking at the dollar CAD buy trade. Now this is slightly related to the GameStop events. GameStop events basically is putting pressure on the stock market. Now the stock market basically is leading the way in the currency markets at the moment. Risk on, risk off. We always talk about this in the currency markets. If indeed these stocks do push lower with the continuation of the uncertainty with the GameStop, then that would be risk off. Now, risk off tends to depress certain currencies like the commodity currencies. So the CAD, the New Zealand, the Australian dollar, they tend to trade lower. And the US dollar is a safe haven play. So there's normally a flood of money going into the safe haven, the greenback, and that could happen this week as well. So on the fundamentals and the technicals, we're seeing a potential buy in the dollar and selling the CAD, and we're looking at the next level of resistance in that currency pair up to 129, 129.10, something like that. So that is a risk off play. Okay, so let's have a look at the mentors top picks. As we will put out our top picks as well. This week I'm looking at the euro against the pound. If you have been following me, we have been taking short trades in this over the last couple of weeks, and indeed it's looking as though that trend is going to continue to the downside. The euro basically being sort of jawboned, if you like, by the ECB, containing any future rises. You've also got the pound now benefiting from the Brexit, of course, but also benefiting from the vaccine rollout. Seem to be doing better in the UK than in the eurozone. So that is a thought that could lead to maybe the UK coming out of the economic crisis quicker than maybe the eurozone. We've also got MPC this week as well. That's the Monetary Policy Committee meeting in the UK. There was a talk a while back about going into negative rates. That's going to be sort of sidelined. Again, that's going to be bullish for the British pound. So selling the euro against buying the British pound, that basically is a nice trend continuation, and we're looking at the path down to 0.8700 as our next target there. Now Max is looking at silver. Now silver's been on a tear basically since the GameStop events of last week, and the longer term view is that silver will continue here for Max. However, he is expecting a pullback, so we're basically at 8-year highs for silver. He's expecting an initial pullback as we've come into some resistance, but his longer term picture is still long for silver. But a short term play for this week maybe to trade lower. And Paul is focusing on the S&P 500 this week. Again, this is related to the GameStop events, and he's expecting that the hedge funds and the stock markets are going to come under pressure this week as banks, hedge funds and so forth have to liquidate positions to pay for the huge losses in there. But it's all to play for this week, so we do need to keep an eye on this particular stock and of course the broader picture. But Paul is looking for an S&P short this week as well. Okay, this is the momentum meter. Talk about this each and every week. You really should be trading the currency markets with something like this. If you're not, I encourage you to do so. It basically tells you where the money flows are. Okay, so as currency traders, we look to see the value of one currency against the values of the other currencies. And this momentum meter, as I've called it, basically does exactly that. It shows me where the money is flowing. This white line up here at the moment, that is showing me that the pound, the British pound, is continuing to be one of the strongest currencies up there. You're also seeing the green up here. That's the greenback. That's the US dollar. That's showing the strength of the US dollar increasing as well. Maybe the safe haven flow that I've just been talking about. So money is flowing into the pound and the dollar at the moment. Also seeing the New Zealand dollar showing, that's the grey line up over there. Also showing New Zealand dollar some strength as well. To the downside, we're seeing a bit of weakness coming into these commodity currencies. So the orange line there is the Australian dollar. You've got the CAD coming lower as well. So that fits with our one of our picks for the week, where we are buying the New Zealand dollar and selling the Australian dollar against it. Also, if you look here, you're seeing the euro, weaker currency, still under pressure this week, and we expect that to continue. So buying the strong ones, selling the weak ones is the name. But it really is important, if you're trading the currency markets, to know how one currency is performing against the basket, and then you can pick obviously the best currency pair that has the edge, and that's what trading is all about. Okay, so let's have a look at the data releases this week. Quite a busy week in terms of central banks. Central banks, basically, they decide on interest rates, and normally where interest rates go, the currency should follow. So as Forex traders, we're always looking at the central bank rate decisions. This week we've got a rate decision out of Australia, so that's basically coming out later today. Not expecting rates to be moved in any way, but of course with these rate decisions they're always followed on with an economic statement, so basically giving you an idea of the outlook going forward, what the central banks are thinking. Later on in the week we've got the Bank of England rate decision. That is on the 4th at 12 p.m. As I mentioned earlier, there was talk a while back about UK going into negative rates. The MPC committee have been talking about it, but now that does seem to be pushed further down. It's diminishing somewhat, which is maybe why the pound is showing some strength. So all eyes will be watching the pound, of course, later on in the week. And of course the big event, as we know, it's the live non-farm payroll event. That is on Friday. Normally it's the first Friday of every month. Sometimes holidays interfere with that, but normally the first Friday of every month. It is the biggest market event of the month. You've heard the expression in the past, you know, when the United States sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. So we always look to the US to see as a barometer of where the global economies are going. And of course, non-farm payroll, basically it's the job numbers, how many people are added to the workforce outside of the agricultural sector. So it's a good leading indicator in terms of where the economic growth is going. Now, we stream this live, as you may well know. Stream it live. You can come over and join as well. Also give away quite a lot of money in some cash prizes as well. So if you want to come over and join that, you know what to do. You can sign up. You can take your 7-day free trial and so forth. So lots going on this week. I'd like to see you inside the trading room. Do come over to forexsignals.com should you wish to. Come and say hello. Let me know that you've come in from the YouTube, and that would be good to see you, and we'll roll out the red carpet. Okay, so have a good week. Keep an eye on the stock market, keep an eye on GameStop, and keep an eye on the risk on, risk off theme that we are seeing play out this week. Till next week, have a good one.